you guys, welcome back to See Mindy Mom, and if you are new here, I am so glad that you found me. Welcome to my kitchen. Today, I am sharing with you something that I have never done before. I have never made a lasagna from scratch. I wanted to see if I could do it, and if I could do it for cheaper than it costs to buy the ready-made frozen lasagnas in the grocery store. So, let's get started. All right, you guys, believe it or not, I've actually never made lasagna from scratch, just like a standard lasagna casserole recipe. I've made one-pot versions of like lasagna style dishes. I have made the lazy version of lasagna where you use the little frozen raviolis. I've made something similar in the crock pot before. I've even made lasagna soup, but I've never made just your standard regular lasagna. You know that thing that is sort of like the stereotypical, like quintessential family meal, the thing that you take to people whenever you need to take a meal to somebody, the thing that people are always making ahead and putting in the freezer. I've actually never made one before. Isn't that crazy? And I got the idea for this video when I was in Walmart a few weeks back, and I picked up one of those little frozen lasagnas as an easy meal for my family because I was kind of in a bind and I knew I wouldn't have time to put anything together since I was filming that day. So I just decided I would pick up one of those meals because it seemed like a really good deal. At my Walmart, it's $10.48 for a lasagna that it says feeds 12, and personally it would for my family, but even if it only feeds 7 or 8 people, I feel like that's still a pretty good deal. You put together a salad or a bag of steam in the bag vegetables, maybe slice up some garlic toast, and voila, you've got a meal. So like I said, I was curious whenever I got that to see if I could make it from scratch for cheaper. So I started to put some things into my Walmart grocery pickup app just to see how much it would cost. And I very quickly learned that actually, no, I could not make one lasagna for less than it cost me to buy a ready-made frozen lasagna. But I figured that I might be able to make 2 lasagnas for less than it would cost me to buy 2 of the frozen lasagnas if I went ahead and purchased some of the ingredients for it in bulk and I used them across both recipes. So for this challenge for myself, I just used a very, very basic lasagna recipe, and I made a few tweaks to it according to our tastes and preferences and what I had. So I will leave the recipe that inspired me linked in the description box below, but I'm going to show you what I purchased. I'm going to show you exactly what I did to make my lasagnas, and then I'll give you a little price breakdown and I'll tell you whether or not I think it was worth it. Okay, so here we go. Here are most of the ingredients that I'm using for my lasagnas, and this is what I purchased. The only thing that I could not purchase from Aldi was lasagna noodles. They did not carry them at my Aldi right now. I guess they only have them every now and then, but they didn't have lasagna noodles, so I picked those up at Walmart. 3 blocks of mozzarella cheese, which I'm going to shred myself. These are 8-ounce blocks, so this is 24 ounces of mozzarella cheese. 2 containers of ricotta. This should be whole milk ricotta. 1 big can that's 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes, and 1 24-ounce container of, this is just pasta sauce, just in the jar pasta sauce. I'm gonna use this 1 pound of Italian ground sausage and 1 pound of ground turkey, so it's gonna be half and half. You could use ground beef if you wanted. This is a little less expensive option. And to make the sauce, I'm actually gonna let the crock pot do the work. I'm gonna simmer the sauce with onions and garlic and the seasonings in the crock pot for a few hours, and then I'm going to be ready to assemble my lasagnas. These are the things that I did not purchase because I already had them. I pretty much always have onions and garlic. You know, I keep those stocked in my fridge because I use them in so many recipes, and they're a really cheap way to add flavor to dishes. I'm going to use 2 eggs, which I already had, and then to season it, I'm just going to use some Italian seasoning. I'll probably use about a tablespoon of this. I'll go pretty heavy on it. Salt and pepper. And for us, I'm going to add just a pinch of crushed red pepper because we like a little bit of kick in our sauce. have the spices that I showed, or you're just looking for something, you know, even easier, here are some ideas. You could possibly use a spaghetti sauce mix. I know for a while we were not seeing these in grocery stores, but I have been seeing them again in my stores. This is a name brand one, it's McCormick, but I have been seeing them in the store brands as well. I do keep usually one of these in my pantry just to have on hand in case I need it at some point, but I have been seeing these again. And then another option would be an Italian dressing mix or seasoning mix like this one that I got from Aldi. I think these are less than 50 cents. I think they're like 40 cents at my Aldi. So if you were wanting to take the easy route, or you were still needing to purchase seasonings for your sauce, but you didn't want to purchase a whole bunch of bottles of stuff, here's some ideas for you. Lately, I have been trying to assuage the pre-dinner snacking by putting out a little crudité, just a little like veggie platter, maybe with some dressing or dip to go along with it, so that everybody can kind of munch on this as they are waiting around on dinner to be finished, and that I can munch on while I am cooking the dinner. Okay, so this one is ready to go in the oven right now. And this one I'm going to let come down to room temperature because the sauce was still kind of hot. And then I'm going to wrap it in foil and then wrap the foil in cellophane. And basically I'm going to prepare it for the freezer. It was hard to gauge like how much of each layer to use. So I actually ended up with some of the ricotta layer that should have gone underneath the last noodles, but that's okay. I think it will still taste good. The sauce tasted really good. I was worried that it was a little runny. So we'll pop these in the oven, or this one in the oven, and we'll see how it turns out, because I'm going to bake it at 350 for about 35 to 40 minutes and then let it sit for a few minutes before we slice it. So I realize that the go-to vegetable side for lasagna is usually a salad, and obviously like picking up a bag salad, or we almost always have, you know, salad fixings and greens on hand in the refrigerator. Like that would be easy, but I wanted a meal that was completely freezable. Like I can just pull everything that I need for it out of the freezer. So instead I'm going to make green beans, and I will show you how I make these on the stove. If you are the primary cook in your household, I'm sure that if you're like me, you're constantly trying to find ways to make vegetables that everybody will eat, and this is definitely a go-to for us. Everybody will eat green beans the way that I make them from frozen on the stove. Okay, so you've seen my lasagnas, and from my calculations, it cost me about $18 and some change for the ingredients that I used to make my lasagnas. I probably could have saved myself $1 or $2 if I had not purchased the items from Aldi using their online grocery pickup, which is through Instacart. And if you've watched that video already, you know that there's a bit of a markup in the prices for the grocery pickup at Aldi. That is not the case necessarily at the Walmart grocery pickup, but I found that it was the case for Aldi through Instacart. So all that's to say, it still cost me somewhere between $18 and $19 to make 2 lasagnas. So am I saving money? Yes, I'm saving a couple of dollars, but I'm trading in some of my time because I'm making them from scratch. However, I will say that lasagna was way better than the already made frozen lasagna that I purchased at the store. And you're probably thinking, well, duh, Mindy, most of the time when you make something from scratch yourself, it's gonna taste better. But I was surprised at just how much better it was and how much more evenly it cooked. Those ready-made lasagnas, I don't know if it's just me, but I tend to burn the bottom layer. So I was wondering if that would happen with this lasagna, and it did not. It was absolutely delicious. It fed my family for not 1, but 2 days because we had plenty of leftovers and we've been eating them for lunches. But also I have 1 in the freezer now too. I found it to be just as easy to make 2 as it was to make 1. So now I don't need to buy the frozen ones, the already made, convenience frozen ones in the grocery store, because every time I make lasagna now, I'll just make 2 and I'll put 1 in the freezer. So I'll have 1 that's homemade in the freezer. And then when I'm ready to make that, I can just pull it out of the freezer in the morning and let it thaw and then pop it into the oven and we will have another delicious lasagna. And I even went ahead and made extras of the garlic knots, and I put a bag of green beans in there frozen that we can have with it as well. So I've got a whole meal ready to go in my freezer, and it really didn't take very much extra work for me to make that second one, which in turn made it cost efficient for me as well, because I'm saving a few dollars and I'm also just getting something that's much better, that my family is much more likely to eat. So in conclusion, I guess if you're looking for convenience, frozen lasagnas are a very good price point, and I've seen them at my Aldi too for even a little bit less than they are at my Walmart, and maybe they're better at some other places. I've had some people tell me that the ones at Costco are very good and very cost efficient, but I will say that I found this to be much easier. I don't know why I waited so long to make lasagna. I know that there are probably, more involved recipes, and that I took a few shortcuts by using some ready-made ingredients in my sauce, but still it was much easier than I thought it would be, and so much more delicious than the frozen ones are, that, I don't think I'll be buying frozen lasagnas anytime in the near future. So that's what I have for you today, you guys. Thank you so much for coming along with me and watching me go through this first time cooking experience for me. I will be sure to check in again with another video very soon.